OPEC Plus announces extra oil production cuts. Biden will not be happy with this. Yep, $363 billion withdrawn. Every time you've had major shifts to the downside in the dollar's strength, you have seen that the BTC pair, oh man, so is the US dollar in crisis as global macroeconomics start to have a major shift. You can see the US dollar index here is dumping heavily to the downside. This is after OPEC Plus announces extra oil production cuts. This is leading the crude prices to rise and the US dollar to take a fall to the downside. What impact will this have on Bitcoin? Guys, there has been a huge coordinated move now against the US dollar. The major economies, we've covered this off. The BRICS nations are now producing more of global GDP than the existing G7. Look at this weekly recap from last week. Saudi Arabia entered a trade alliance with China, Russia, India, Pakistan. We covered that off. China and France did their first LNG trade using the Chinese yuan, not the dollar. China and Brazil settled trades in their own currency, ditching the US dollar. Right? We spoke about the BRICS countries. Saudi Arabia partners with China to build a Chinese oil refinery, 12.2 billion. Right? They're going to do that in yuan. Kenya signs a deal. President of Kenya tells citizens to get rid of US dollar. There was that famous clip that was circulating. There's a lot going on. El Salvador president officially signs a bill eliminating all taxes. And you're seeing that a lot of these latest pushes are involving Saudi Arabia, which of course were underpinning the existing petrodollar. Could this be the end of the US dollar as a reigning currency? We've covered this off at length over the last couple of weeks. A lot of people, including Balaji, came out with the famous $1 billion bet, thinks the US dollar is going to go into hyperinflation. And since we've started to see a lot of things going wrong, you've seen the commercial banking collapse in the US as well. If we take a look here, $363 billion. Yep, $363 billion withdrawn from US commercial banks. Where are they going to put it? This is completely leaving commercial banks. Where's it going to go into? It's either going to go into cash, it's going to go into gold, it's going to go into commodities or crypto, right? People are starting to wake up and understand that their fiat currency is not safe, and that's a major shift we're seeing. And Saudi Arabia, one of those major economies which are now starting to feel emboldened on the world stage. I mean, Saudi Arabia to adopt economic strategy without US dependence, okay, following decline in relations under the Biden administration. Saudi Arabia, Russia, UAE, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Algeria to cut oil production until the end of 2023. Biden will not be happy with this. Remember, the US dollar is inversely correlated to the price of oil. If you're reducing the production of oil, you're increasing the price of oil. That is going to lead to a fall generally in the price of the dollar, which is why we're seeing here initially the US dollar, after initially trying to break out from its downward channel, is now getting shunned straight back to the downside. Remember, this is good for crypto. Crypto is inversely correlated to the dollar index. We have seen here, when we monitor the weekly chart here, on the dollar index, every time you've had major shifts to the downside in the dollar's strength, you have seen that the BTC pair versus the US dollar, of course, has strengthened. Remember, Bitcoin is a pair versus the USD. When you look at the Bitcoin price and you say, oh, Bitcoin is sitting at 28,000, you have to remember that is paired to the US dollar. It takes 28,000 US dollars to buy a Bitcoin. If the US dollar is deteriorating, that means you're going to need more US dollars to buy a full Bitcoin. So the price goes up. A lot of people don't understand this basic pairing in terms of the trading pairs. But again, look at these big falls to the downside. Every time this has happened, this is correlated to a Bitcoin doing well. So if we could see a nice big leg here to the downside, Bitcoin and crypto markets could benefit from that going into their next bull run. Let's now take a look at the Bitcoin chart, and you can see we are still fighting for this important 29,000 level mark, but it's been a pretty dry couple of weeks. If you look at here, once we've had our initial big move here, attempting the first time at 29,000, we've just been consolidating here on crypto. But this consolidation is good. When it's boring, that is good. I want to see that. This means we are building scaffolding in the market, okay? When you see massive moves to the upside like we initially had, this could be a lot of leverage longs, right? Trying to trade the market. When you move sideways, this is really good. It shows that you're a little bit of stalemate between the bulls and the bears, but it's good. You're building structure. You're building a floor to say, you know what? We're going to get comfortable with Bitcoin at 28,000. Every time the bears try to push us down, we're managing to hold. And you're seeing here where I've just put this orange line here. It's creating higher lows, which is good for now. So you can see we are forming a bit of a triangle here between that green line and orange line. And the question is, can we now start to try work our way to the upside? I still hold out that if we do get a break to the downside, you've got to be prepared for lower price points, even down to 26,000 if you break down from the bottom of this triangle. But if we can clear 29, things will get exciting. I expect us to move quickly towards 30 and then towards 32 once we clear that 30,000 mark. The other pattern worth noticing here is, of course, we monitor this symmetrical triangle. We caught the break to the downside. Again, look at that meets the bottom of the wedge. We always say that. We go through that in our TA course, ijaz.uk/TA. If you want to learn TA for free, take advantage of that. It's not going to be free forever. Click the link in the description. Make sure get yourself signed up and start working through that free course. Met the price target perfectly. But then, as typically happens, once you do break down from these symmetrical triangles, you liquidate the overzealous shorts, and then you could see a move to the upside. So that's what now we'll be looking for as bulls. But interestingly, you've got to break this pivot point. You've got to get past this point here, and then you've got to get past the much difficult level of 29,000 at the top, okay? Otherwise, if we just end up curling over, that's a low, that's a lower high, and then create another lower high, that's not going to look good here. Then we could be breaking to the downside. Now, if you take a look at this channel here, you can see why it's such a precarious level which we're at right now. We can literally head in either direction. We're sitting here almost in a no man's land in the middle of the channel. If you're at the top of the channel, likelihood is either you're going to break out and do something like this, or you're going to get sharply rejected. But when you're sitting here consolidating, this could easily tumble to the downside, but equally, we could be working our way back to the top to reattempt another try at 29,000. So that's what I'm looking for now, waiting for the market to set some direction on which way we want to be heading. Again, the hourly EMA ribbon is painting us the exact same picture. We can't seem to hold it either in a bearish pattern or in a bullish pattern. This is sideways action here, showing that we're at a very important stalemate and impasse right now. But once we decide a direction, I think the move is going to be powerful. Either we're going to break through 29, get explosive move to the upside, or we're going to fail again, and this time we're going to have to fall down. I'm going to be looking at 26,000 and 25,000 if we struggle to break 29,000 on this next attempt. On the 4-hourly EMA ribbon, we're only just holding above it. A couple of candlesticks previously, we were below the 4-hourly EMA ribbon. Now we're managing to get back up it again. It's a tight battle here. If we zoom back up to the daily, this is where you see we do have room to breathe, right? You can see we are extended from our daily EMA ribbon, and this is what now gives me the confidence to say, you know what? It's okay if we want to pull back. I wouldn't mind it. Look at this big move we had all the way from here, all the way up here. And then we've just consolidated sideways. But if you look at it, it's not really sideways. It's a slight increase, right? So even in the consolidation here on Bitcoin, it's an upwards trend, which is saying to me that we could do with more of a pullback. I wouldn't mind it. If it wants to come down here to 26,000, absolutely not a problem. If it even wants to test right deep into the EMA ribbon, 25,000, I'm okay with it. There will be great opportunities for me to nibble a little bit more. At these current levels, it's not juicy enough for me to be adding, so I'm not going to be chasing these green candlesticks. If we break beyond 29,000, fantastic. I want it to move up towards 30 and beyond. But for now, I don't want to be just nibbling just yet. On the weekly candlesticks, we're looking really good here. Obviously, we had our big weekly candle breaking through that EMA ribbon, reclaiming it back to bullish again. And even since the last 2 weeks here, have been holding good, right? We've not even had to pull back down. Normally, it would have been something like coming back down here. It didn't need to. It showed really good strength here on the weekly candlesticks. And this is showing that the bulls mean business at this 28K level. They won that 29K. They're not willing to pull back to 26, 27 right now. They want to push on. But at the same time, bears are holding an important last ditch hold at 29K. They do not want to lose that level, because we know if we zoom out here, look how important this level is. If you look at where my cursor is, this is major support and major resistance for the last period of time. This has always been a very important level around this 29 to 30K level. So I do not expect the bears to give it up easily. They're going to want to hold a last fight. And if we can clear this level, it completely changes the dynamic for Bitcoin and the rest of the year ahead. A very interesting time in the markets at a very precarious moment for the US dollar. I've not seen a coordinated move by major countries to really start to push for independence away from the US dollar. Russia, at the same time as Saudi Arabia, at the same time as many other major economies, including India and China, all working together to move away from the US dollar. What impact could this have? What time frame could this be over? One thing we know for sure, a weakening dollar creates a better environment for crypto. We've already seen the banking system in the US creaking at the helm. That is leaving money to flow into crypto. What impact could it have on the crypto price over the next 90 days? I think it could be big. I'm in the markets, and I certainly would not want to be sitting out of this market right now. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to go watch this video here, and I'll see you in the next one.